The process where a single parent reproduces by itself, its offspring are identical. Asexual reproduction is when an organism makes a copy of itself without needing a mate. Imagine you're making a photocopy of a document at home and all you need is one perfect duplicate. Just as the copier takes the original document and produces an exact replica without needing any additional materials, asexual reproduction involves a single organism creating a genetically identical offspring without the need for a second parent. In this analogy, the original document is like the parent organism. The photocopier represents the asexual reproduction process, and the resulting copy is the identical offspring, showing how a single source can create a perfect duplicate of itself. A structure made of DNA that contains genetic material. Chromosome. A chromosome is a thread-like structure that holds the instructions for building and running a living organism. Imagine trying to pack an entire wardrobe into one suitcase for a trip. Just like you need to carefully fold and organize your clothes to fit them all into a limited space, a chromosome is a way that our cells efficiently package long strands of DNA into a compact structure. In this analogy, the clothes represent the DNA. The suitcase is the chromosome, and the act of packing is the process of condensing genetic material so that it can be easily stored and accessed when needed, ensuring everything fits neatly inside. A trait of an allele that masks the other trait, dominant trait. In simple terms, a dominant trait is a characteristic that appears in an organism when one or both parents pass down the dominant gene for that trait. Imagine you're at a party where a loud band is playing, making it difficult to hear the quieter conversations around you. This situation is similar to a dominant trait in genetics, where one allele's characteristic can overshadow or mask the presence of another allele's trait. Just as the band's music overpowers the softer sounds, a dominant allele expresses its trait more prominently, making the recessive allele's trait less noticeable or completely hidden in the organism's phenotype. A trait that is masked from a dominant allele. Recessive trait. A recessive trait is a characteristic that only appears when an individual has two copies of the recessive allele, not masked by a dominant one. Imagine you're at a party trying to share a story, but there's a loud, enthusiastic speaker who keeps grabbing everyone's attention. This scenario is similar to how recessive traits are masked by dominant alleles, because, like the quiet storyteller, a recessive trait is present but overshadowed by the more loud and noticeable dominant allele. Just as the quieter voice struggles to be heard over the boisterous one, a recessive trait remains hidden unless it's paired with another recessive allele, allowing it to finally speak and be expressed. The part of a chromosome that contains the DNA for a specific trait, gene. A gene is a section of DNA that determines a specific characteristic or trait in a living organism. Imagine trying to find a specific recipe in a huge cookbook to bake your favorite cake. Just like that recipe contains all the instructions needed to create that specific cake, a gene contains the DNA instructions needed for a specific trait. In this analogy, the cookbook is like the chromosome, the recipe is the gene, and the cake is the trait. Just as the recipe guides you to make the cake, the gene instructs the development of a particular trait. The passing of traits from parent to offspring. Heredity. Heredity is how characteristics are passed down from parents to their children through genes. Imagine trying to transfer all of your favorite apps, settings, and contacts from an old phone to a new one. This process is akin to how heredity works, where biological information is passed from parents to offspring. Just as the old phone transfers its data to the new phone, ensuring that the new phone inherits the same apps and settings, Parents pass on genetic information to their children, resulting in shared traits and characteristics. A change in a cell's DNA. Mutation. In simple terms, a mutation is an alteration in the genetic code that can affect how a cell functions or develops. Imagine you're following a beloved family recipe for chocolate chip cookies, but you accidentally use salt instead of sugar. This small change in ingredients can drastically alter the taste and outcome of the cookies, just like how a mutation alters a cell's DNA. In this analogy, the original recipe is akin to the cell's DNA, and the accidental ingredient swap represents a mutation, both resulting in an unexpected change from the intended result. The production of offspring from two parents, sexual reproduction. It is a process where two parents combine their genetic material to create unique offspring. Imagine trying to make the perfect smoothie using ingredients from two different shelves in your kitchen. Just like combining fruits from both shelves to create a delightful blend, sexual reproduction involves mixing genetic material from two parents to produce unique offspring. In this analogy, each shelf represents a parent. The ingredients symbolize the genetic material, and the smoothie is the new, distinct offspring created from the harmonious combination of both parents' contributions. A characteristic that is passed from parents to offspring, like eye color. Inherited trait. Inherited traits are features or qualities that are passed down genetically from one generation to the next. Imagine you're trying to bake a cake using a recipe handed down from your grandparents. Just like how the recipe dictates the flavor and texture of the cake, inherited traits are like biological recipes handed down from your parents, determining characteristics like eye color. In this analogy, the cake represents you, the recipe is akin to your genetic code, and the specific ingredients, such as flour or sugar, are like the genes that define your eye color, passed down through generations. The pattern of behavior with which an animal is born. Instinct. Instinct is an automatic response or behavior present in animals that doesn't need to be learned. Imagine trying to assemble a piece of flat-pack furniture without any instructions, relying solely on intuition. This situation is similar to how animals rely on instinct, as they are born with an innate instruction manual that guides their behavior without needing to learn it from scratch. Just as your intuition helps you piece together the furniture by recognizing patterns and fitting parts together, an animal's instinct equips it with pre-programmed behaviors to help it navigate the world from birth. The transfer of plant pollen from the male to the female reproductive structure. Pollination is the process by which pollen is moved to help plants reproduce and produce seeds. Imagine trying to send a message to a friend across a crowded room at a party without directly speaking to them. This is similar to how plants rely on pollinators like bees, wind, or other mechanisms to carry pollen from the male parts to the female parts of a flower. Just like you might rely on a friend to relay your message across the room, plants depend on external agents to transport pollen, ensuring the message of reproduction is successfully delivered. When a male reproductive cell sperm joins with a female reproductive cell egg, fertilization is the process where the sperm and egg merge to form a new organism. Imagine you're trying to find the perfect match for a puzzle piece among a pile of scattered pieces. Much like how the puzzle piece needs to fit perfectly with its counterpart to complete the picture, a male reproductive cell, sperm, must find and join with a female reproductive cell, egg, to initiate the creation of new life. Just as the correct puzzle piece clicks into place to reveal the image, the sperm and egg merge to begin the development of an embryo, highlighting the essential role of this union in the process of fertilization. The growth of a new plant from a seed, germination. It's the process where a seed starts to grow into a plant. Imagine trying to wake up on a cold morning when you're wrapped in cozy blankets. Just like you need the right motivation and energy to leave your warm bed, a seed requires the right conditions to start growing into a new plant. The blankets represent the seed coat protecting the seed. The warmth and light are like the sun and water encouraging the seed to sprout. And just as you eventually emerge, ready to start the day, the seed germinates and begins its journey as a new plant.